All right, so this is just a tip for the Autel. This isn't a case study or anything like that. This is just a little overview if you're not familiar with Intelligent Diagnostics. As you can see, this is a BMW here, and we have a lot of fault codes. As you may know, if you try and search these in service, a lot of the time they come back to nothing. Sometimes Identifix will have some things that other people have ran into or some tips, but for the most part, you really can't search these codes when you look them up in service. So I wanted to give just a little overview of one of the features that the Autel has, which is convenient. So if you go into the module, trouble codes, you'll see we have the codes here, and then you could click Intelligent Diagnostics at the bottom of the screen right here. And you can see at the top, you could select the fault codes you want, click DTC analysis, and this is just going to give you like an overview of the fault code, pretty much like you'd get in service information, just some information about the code to get you somewhat familiar with what's going on. Then you could click Repair Assist, and it's going to bring you into the test plan. Now, this is what all the factory tools have. If you want to diagnose the fault codes, you'll pretty much have like test plans and service information in the tool. It's not going to be in like an aftermarket service information. This feature is essentially just what you'd be using on the factory tool when diagnosing these fault codes. So after this loads and goes through all these menus, it's going to pull up the test plan for this code. And you'll see we have a couple different screens here. We have a little reference. We have wiring on the side. I'll jump into a couple of these different menus, show you what they look like. So pretty much we got the fault analysis here. It's going to give you a bunch of information about the fault code. You could also pull up freeze frame, going to give you a lot of information there, all the freeze frame. They have a nice little reference section you could go into next, referencing components and such. And then what's really cool is the wiring diagram. So it gives you the wiring diagram for the circuit. You could click it, tells you the component and everything. And then it'll even give you like a component view if you click the little blue thing. You could zoom in on this and it'll give you like a nice diagram of where it is, all from the tool. You have to be connected to the internet and you have to have an active subscription with Autel to utilize this feature, but really nice, kind of saves a lot of time just having all of this in the tool. But this is what the factory tools look like. Everything's in the tool, so you're doing it all from one spot. You don't have to go between different windows. So it's a nicer workflow if you have the factory tool. So this is just going to run through several different screens, prompting you to do different things to test the component. Since these were history codes, it's going to say that there's no fault that's current. Do you want to continue with it or not? So at this point, you could exit. It'll just go back to the beginning, or you could click continue, and then it's just going to activate this test plan and go through the steps of it. So it's going to give you some conditions. You want engine on idle. This is going for a fuel pressure check. And then it's going to give you a counter, some things to wait for. All right, so now it's performing a test. It's going to do another countdown. Now, these tests will be different depending on, what your code is, what system you're working on. This is just for this fuel pressure code that we had. So you'll see like some random screens come up sometimes. The UI isn't a perfect UI on this, but it's really nice that it's going to activate components for you. It's going to read live data for you and kind of just do all of this on the back end on its own. So you don't have to like physically sit here and activate the pump yourself while looking at live data or really doing anything else. A lot of these European cars are really nice with the self-tests that they have for these codes utilizing the test plan. It'll do a lot of the stuff for you so you don't have to do it, and it's all in one place. So this is saying we found no faults in the low pressure fuel system. Next, it's going to check the high pressure pumps, some test conditions that it wants you to achieve. Running through rail pressure tests right now. It's preparing for it. Again, not like the best UI here, just like a lot of random words and stuff on the screen. But here you go. Now we have a readout. First part was successful. It gives you the pressures. I'm going to take a screenshot. Now it's going to do second step. I'm going to go through the same procedure. This one was successful. Gives you the pressures right here on the screen. So pretty nice that it does all this for you to kind of give you a base of where you're at with these fault codes. And that's pretty much going to wrap this test up. This car was something else. There was no issues on this with the either fuel pump at idle. There was an issue with this one at like a wide open throttle under a heavy load. So that's why these passed and were intermittent codes. It's not like a all the time fault on this one. It's a little bit intermittent, only at certain conditions. But I thought this would be a good time to kind of just show you guys the intelligent diagnostic feature that the Autel has if you're unfamiliar with it. So hope you guys like this one. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.